Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and well, let's have some fun with wordplay today. So I went off to a charter boat that I do fishing reels for, and they gave me a bucket of good, crossed out, bad reels. And then I went to drop off some reels with a flea market vendor who told me he had some bad reels. And well, let's take a look at what makes a good reel bad and what makes a bad reel bad. And well, we'll just try to figure through some of these. Also talk a little bit about common failures, because the reels that came in from a boat are a bucket of Penn reels. And well, they're in for repair because, well, they're just not working right. That's their definition of bad, I guess, is the reels are good, but something has gone bad with them, or they're performing badly. And then we've got reels that are just plain bad reels, I guess. So let's start with, to my opinion, a just plain bad reel. And this one is, well, you can tell it's messed up. It's got a broken handle that is somehow sheared off, and no surprise there. I suspect that whatever this line is, and it almost looks like plastic line as opposed to braid. It almost looks like a big old rubber band kind of thing. Probably got jammed up, and well, that caused the issue there. And this one is one of these that you find on Amazon, I don't know, for $19 or something. Suliang 13-in-1 bearings is probably the worst reel that is sitting here on the table. You can't get replacement parts for it, and this is a very odd shaft size. So the fellow initially asked me could I replace the shaft, and everything is sheared on this. The handle is broken. This would be where the stud for the handle to collapse would have been. It's sheared off there. But well, it's just a good example of a bad reel, and I don't care how many ball bearings are in that one. That's a bad reel. The next one that's called a bad reel is actually a South Bend. The name on it is Cinnamaron, and so we got two things going here. These are inexpensive reels. So with inexpensive reels, you're going to see compromises in the quality of the materials that are used in its construction. And first up, you have a plastic spool. You don't have a metal spool. I guess that's all right. The pound test that they tell you to use on this is 6, 8, and 10. It's kind of hard to see because, well, the lettering's wearing off of it. It's also got greening on the plastic. I got to tell you that I don't see that too much. It's a nice solid reel, however. You can hear the bearing is not good, and you can see there is no anti-reverse, regardless of whether it says on or off. And we'll do this one as a video on why fishing reels fail. But I actually like this reel, but there's more that's kind of gone wrong with it. Every now and then the bail doesn't trip. You'll get what I call a ballet dancer. And a lot of times that's simply a matter of just taking some penetrating oil, putting them on the seams, and make that one there. So that's well, it's not a bad reel, but it's performing badly. The next up is a reel that was called Bad. This one is a Quantum Optics 80. This is a very large size reel. From what I'm seeing here, this reel has had gotten dunked in the sand. There's sand all over the side of it, and it probably hit something on the way down because there's some scarring on the top of the spool. There's sand inside the cavity here where the ball bearing is, and underneath you can see it as well. The reel does turn. Now it's turning a little bit loudly, which would say maybe this one even got pulled up out of the ocean. I don't know the story. We're missing the handle, and we're missing the handle screw that keeps the handle in there. And last and not least, the bail doesn't trip. So that's a reel that's performing badly. Is it a bad reel? I don't know. I've seen a lot of optics reels out there that do very nicely. They're a value-priced reel. It's got 4 ball bearings and they're in the right place. That's always a good thing, and much better than this 13 ball bearing one here. And you know, if you had the time and the energy, I think you could restore it. The problem is if you find the handle screw, probably a bail spring here because this is not snapping, and you took the time to do that, you probably pay as much the cost of parts as that reel is worth. And the last one, I don't know why it was categorized as bad. This is a Daiwa reel. It was made in China. I always like when I see things like designed by Daiwa. It's hard for you to maybe to read it here, but it says designed by Daiwa on that little lever there, which probably says it was manufactured in somebody else's facility. It does say made in China on it. And I think bad, well, in this case, this reel runs fine. It trips. The anti-reverse override works. It's a functioning reel from the 1990s. My guess on why they called that a bad reel is they were probably comparing this reel to something that was more superior, like a like a Shimano reel, or maybe even a more current or different example of a Daiwa reel. And they just said it's bad, but you know, bad has all those funny connotations to it. And I kind of thought that was why this would be an interesting video. Well, before we go to the reels that the boat has made good bad reels, we will encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you like these kinds of videos, if you like to see the art of reel repair and how to service reels and the like. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. That will help you to see what I'm posting, when I'm posting it, and well, you can make a decision as to whether that's something that you'd like to view or not. Well, this is about half of the bucket of reels here. We're not going to go into all of them, but let's do a little diagnosis. First and foremost, the reels are good reels. They've been around for a long time. This is an example of the reels that are used inshore in the Northeast. This one is out of Long Island, and well, they fish both inside bays and estuaries, as well as, well, maybe a mile, 2 miles offshore, but they don't go long. The fishing line is probably 20 or 25 pound monofilament. Nobody's going to lose a fish using that kind of line on this kind of reel inshore. Most of the fish that they're catching are 2, 3, 4 pound type fish. Every now and then in the late fall they will get striped bass. Well, they'll still be able to handle it on a reel like this. This is the Seaboy. It's the 85. It's been around since Penn started making fishing reels. This is a later version of it. It's got the chocolate side covers to it. What's bad about this good reel? Well, obviously we're missing the sleeve for the gear post. We're missing, I guess we're not missing, it's here. We're missing a handle, and we're missing the pieces that go along with the handle. This one has a faulty anti-reverse. You can see that it's only catching every now and then. So that's got an anti-reverse dog that's an issue. Here's one way that's inexpensive. We kind of talked a little bit about it. I actually have a video out there, an inexpensive way to fix a broken handle knob. Just go to a hardware store, get a replacement cabinet knob, and well, drill out, if you need to drill out, the post in the back. Use the screw that comes with the handle knob. This is one place I tell you to use Loctite. Put the Loctite in there so that this doesn't loosen up, and you have yourself a functional replacement handle knob. And that looks like what's going to have to happen on this one. You can see that with wear, these certainly do loosen up. This one, if I was a customer on the boat and somebody had handed me a rental rod that had this on there, well, I would be disappointed, to say the least. That probably affects, well, you can see how your wrist has to move to keep this reel rolling. And well, maybe we'll do the same thing here. We'll either find the replacement handle or we'll find the knob. Kind of do the same thing with this. Well, if you have any questions on these reels, if you'd like to know a little bit more about the art of reel repair, maybe you're working on one and you're stuck, just leave that in the comment section. I will try to answer those for you. Let's just take a quick look on this one. Okay, this one has a common problem, I'm going to guess. But you see how loose that lever is there? There's a spring on the other side of that that controls the eccentric and the in and out positioning. And it's pretty obvious that spring is broken. If you try to do that on one, oh, we got two. I got two bad examples there, right? There you go. You can see that there's a lot of tension, and you can hear that nice snap and click. on that, and that's missing on those two reels. What's also missing on this reel is that handle knob. So again, we'll have some fun with handles. And then we have a couple of things that have been substituted. This one probably made it onto the bad reel pile because a customer got it all backlashed, and that's going deep. We also have an issue here. This is off of the free spool. That's another one of these broken springs. And while if you have one of these, it's rather uncommon that they're going to break that spring, or at least break them in comparison to the number here. It looks like we have 3 of these spring failures on here. Remember, he's got 80 or 90 of these reels on the boat. And also remember that these things are used day in and day out for about 250 days out of the year and 2 or 3 trips a day. So do the math. These things are used on, say, 500 trips to be conservative. And how many times you drop your line during that trip, maybe 50, 60, 70. These are thousands of times that this lever is getting moved back and forth over the course of a year. And just like you would use a metal hanger or something and kind of bend it, eventually it will break. And that's what's happening with these. Well, one more reel here. Not quite sure. We get another one. So this one's a Penn Del Mar. It's a 285, and I'm going to have to order a bunch of springs. The good news is the springs are still available, and well, I'll just go out there and get a bunch of springs to do that. Well, I have another half bucket of those, but we don't need to go into that. The whole idea is what makes a bad reel bad and what makes a good reel bad. And if you got a good reel that's performing badly, you can certainly do the service on them, and you'll have a good reel that is performing well. It's all about what you're starting with. If you have a good reel like this, well, maybe you don't need to do too much. It's just been called bad because in comparison to other 2500 size reels, it may not be as smooth, it may not be silky, it may cast a little awkwardly, the balance may have an issue to it, but the reel itself is a good reel, just called bad. And then you got bad reels that are just, well, plain bad reels that need to be avoided. And don't be swung over by the marketing, 13+1 ball bearings, -1 handle, minus a bail that doesn't trip, and all the other things. Just say this is a bad reel to begin with, and no matter how hard you try to make it a good reel, it's a bad reel. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please like it. Again, I encourage you to subscribe if you want to see these things. I do try to post frequently and try to help you give your reels a second chance. To our first responders and essential personnel, our fire, our emergency workers, our police, our all of the folks that are out there on the front lines helping us stay safe and stay well, I truly do appreciate your efforts. To everyone, well, if you enjoy the art of fishing reel repair, jump in. Try to learn these things on your own, get that knowledge, and continue to watch if you would be so kind. To everyone, please stay safe and stay well. Enjoy your time on the water, and keep your fishing reels tuned up and ready to go. You never know when the bite is going to be on, and you're going to need those reels to be good, not bad performers. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.